Hello and welcome to all the men and women of the West. I'm Joe here with my co-host Dan,
Hello and greetings.
and we're joined by Jet. And we're going to be watching something I think World of Conan kind of recommended to us, which actually looks really good. Dark Horse Comics, motion comics of Conan the Barbarian. This was done, I think, to market their Conan run. So let's give this a whirl. I have not listened to this yet, neither has Dan. So we're going to react and review.
Terraces high in the hills look down over grimy hovels bordering the kingdoms. Crime-infested bazaars, where the abstract corruption of the upper classes translates down to a knife lodged in the ribs of a man, dying in a dark alley. Conan the Cimmerian does not notice this divide. The barbarian from the north is busy riding for his life.
Heave, lads! Get us moving now! Now, lads, get us out of here! Wait! Who invited you aboard? Get us moving.
What made him unsheathed?
Ignore that order! Stop rowing! We're headed for Kush!
And so am I. Get moving!
Have you any silver to pay for passage, barbarian?
I pay with steel. And I
Right.
promise you, if you don't put distance between us and those guardsmen on shore, I will drench this ship in your blood and that of your crew.
They all went wide-eyed.
You heard the swordsman, lads. Get us clear of the harbor.
You have my thanks, Master Swordsman. And I regret to say, the fresh acquisition of new enemies, the Masantia Court guardsmen.
I must choose between your sword and defiance and their
Sorry.
crossbows for aiding in your escape. I think instead, I'll simply choose the much friendlier coasts of Kush, barbarian.
My name is Conan, and I am Cimmerian.
I am Tito, master of the Argos, and licensed trader on the Kush-Argos Sea Road. If I'm to be forced to abandon free access to the ports of Argos, care to tell me just what your business was in Masantia that inflamed the guardsmen so?
I've nothing to conceal. I came to Argos seeking employment, but with peace currently in abundance. Such work is scarce. I admit I am a man of humble upbringing, so I'm prone to misunderstand the ways of the city dwellers. And perhaps more than a few quarts of ale have passed my lips, you men must surely know the place. The Bone in the Throat? That inn down the old wharf road, with the twin redheads working the ale taps? As I said, I am just a man. So, my head heavy with ale, and my heart yearning for battle, I had the misfortune to witness an officer in the King's Guard mistreating a young woman, the sweetheart of a soldier, who had the greater misfortune of being deeply in love with this girl, and who ran the captain through, right in the middle of the tavern.
But Conan, surely you committed no crime in witnessing this. And surely you were not the only one with eyes on the murder.
No crime, but everyone else fled, and I was the fool for staying to finish my drink. More guardsmen appeared, and I, as the sole remaining witness, was hauled off to the Clink, where I spent the night behind bars. Come sunrise, I was furious. Were I not sick as a dog, I would have cut a path out of that hole of a prison. Instead, I let them haul me into the courts. Apparently, and perhaps this is just how city folk live, but apparently, it's against the law to murder a captain of the guard. Where I come from in the north, you avenge your woman's honor. But I'm straying from the story. They got it into their heads that I was friends with the younger soldier, and their repeated requests for information were starting to edge my nerves. The judge started in with a sermon on my duty to the state and society. I had just arrived in Argos the day before. I was practically drooling at the sight of my confiscated sword. But I choked my ire back and held my peace.
A stronger man than I.
Until the judge ordered me sent back to the dungeons for contempt of the court. Clearly I was in a room of lunatics, so I reacquired my sword and split the judge's skull in two like a melon. And that horse, stolen from the chief constable.
The Cimmerian, young in years though he may be, possesses a rare quality of
The position of the stars tells me that. The smell of the flowers and the herds of sheep. I make this haul some 50 times a season.
I prefer to travel by land.
By morning, we'll see the river Styx and the black castles of Kami. I'll steer a wide berth. The sorcerers who practice their dark arts on the beaches are easily antagonized.
Dark arts.
Human sacrifice. Naked women strung up and gutted like fish. They worship the snake god, Set.
I see.
Truth be told, I am happy to have you aboard. The Western Sea is too often an unfriendly place. Tell me, have you heard of Bailey?
My traveling has been mostly limited to the northern lands.
Bailit is not aware. Bailit is a who?
A woman?
Indeed she is. She captains the Tigress. They call her the Queen of the Black Coast.
The Master Steersman describes Belit as a scourge, a plague upon the open seas. Conan the Barbarian to realize it.
This is my livelihood, Sumerian. I am compelled to seek trade north of here to avoid Bailit, yet I dare not show my face or my ship within 20 leagues of Argos.
You are right, Tito. Your Argos situation is my fault.
I didn't...
You did, and you are correct to remind me. I have pledged to you my sword, but that is not enough. You have my life. I offer it freely to you. You point me in the direction of this Queen of the Black Coast, and I swear to you, on my life, you will never fear to sail these waters again.
Conan, for the love of the gods, I will not ask that of you, nor put it upon my crew. We are traders, working men, not soldiers or mercenaries. I am humbled by your oath, Sumerian. Truly. Take me further north, to your lands. We will slip past the Argos patrols and trade with Zingara and Pitland. Please.
You ask me to run?
I ask you nothing of the kind. I will take you anywhere you'd like to go, and offer you my thanks and eternal friendship. But I cannot go to war against Bailit for you.
In my years as a swordsman, although limited in number, I have learned one important truth. I respect your desire to preserve your crew, Tito, but it's the man most intent on avoiding a fight who finds himself stuck right in the middle of one.
Conan is often wise beyond his years.
Shit! Bailit!
By Crom.
Bend to it, lads! Sumerian! Conan!
You're a half league out, but closing fast. I promised you my sword, Tito, and I reckon you will have it before the sun hits midday.
Sooner, by the looks of it. They have archers.
Give me a bow.
Okay.
Not really my idea of a manly weapon, but the Hyrcanians taught me its secrets well enough. The gods help me if I can't plug one of those men on yonder deck, or all this will go very poorly for us, my friend.
Shall I order the men to make for shore? Perhaps we can lose them on foot in the jungles.
We've run out of time, and I'm not dying with an arrow in my back. Keep us steady, Tito.
It was the first of dozens of arrows to bite the crisp ocean air that morning. The Hyrcanians taught basic principles of bow mastery. The Sumerian listened and learned. The typical arrogance of a young swordsman momentarily tempered by pragmatism.
Return fire!
Who could say he would never have to use these skills?
Row, lads! Row!
They're just wasting their arrows.
I see you, you she-devil.
done, Cimmerian.
They've nearly caught up, Tito, and I'm out of arrows. Order your men to stand to it. One last push.
Our numbers have dwindled, Cimmerian. We'll never outrun the buggers now.
Order your men to arms, then, Tito. And you held your ground, as well as any warrior I met. I will strive to do the same, my friend, in your memory. Up, lads, on your feet! Useless to bend your backs anymore. They'll board us before we can row another 50 paces. Grab your steel and give these dogs a fight, Bicrom! If we are to die by their hand, we'll drag them down with us! Steady, lads! Steady! Steady!
And much like the timber, the crew of the Argus was beaten. Oars are not the same as spears and swords. Remembering his promise to the shipmaster Tito, the Cimmerian fought and avenged every one of those noble sailors. To an outside observer, the fight on the Argus was short and bloody. But to the Cimmerian, time was as if it stood still. The warriors of the north have a term for this. Battle calm.
Oh shoot, I should have... Oh yeah, I think I already did when I set up the windows and tabs. I think I did end up hitting the like button. If I didn't, I'll just go back and watch these again.
Die!
Oop, that was close. Okay, enough, Conan. That's enough gore for one day.
Who's next? Or is cowardice gripping your hearts?
You can't kill us all, barbarian.
But you know full well I will die trying. So prepare yourselves.
Stand your ground, you fools! Who are you? By Ishtar, I have never seen one like you before.
I am from Argos.
Ha! I have sailed the ocean from the green coast of Zingara to the very bottom of the world. You are no Hyborian, soft from city lights and marble promenades. You are fierce and hard as a wolf. So tell me, stranger, where do men like you come from?
To my people, Zingara lies to the south. My name is Conan. I am Cimmerian.
Comic, which is a pretty accurate retelling of the Queen of the Black Coast short story.
I did not know them long, but I was fond of them. When I was in need, they were there. I failed to return the favor.
You cannot be faulted. You fought as a demon would, and the sea is a brutal, unforgiving place. Your friends died well.
They died because your mistress ordered it.
Pardon me, Cimmerian, but I must also point out that you are alive because my mistress ordered it. We live and die according to her whims.
Her reputation precedes her, yes. You are a holy man.
I am a shaman. Cimmerian, I have been to your native lands once, when I was much younger.
Truly.
Yours is a land steeped in old traditions. Your gods are fierce, yet mercurial. I found it beautiful. Although I scarcely think these old bones could survive another northern winter.
I highly doubt it too. This is not in the short story, I think.
You are strong, and you are young. These wounds will heal quickly. And yes, Queen Belit is infamous in these waters. But do not fear her.
I fear no woman.
There is nothing straightforward about our fate. It is a web of ever-changing threads. Just be...
Okay, so basically the Stoic philosophy of love thy fate. Ever heard it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a common phrase that Stoics say. Basically, accept the bad times, accept the good times. There's a bit of a philosophical viewpoint that some Stoics have, which is that everything is predetermined. for the most part. Therefore, love thy fate. You are alive. That is enough. Love it. Revel in it. Not saying become decadent, just appreciate that you are alive in this moment. Even those who don't ascribe to predetermination tend to sometimes say, love thy fate. I have several friends who are stoic, philosophy majors, and they love that quote. Love thy fate.
And for good reason.
It's a good quote. And I think that's what that shaman was trying to teach Conan. Love thy fate.
Where to, my king?
I'm no king. Kings are august men of good stock, with armies at their disposal and the respect of a nation behind them.
I can see that in your future, Conan. But you may command me as one now.
A king to your queen.
I am born from kings. The ancients of Ascalon. The arid skies and turquoise waters of the region are in my blood, as is the fierce fighting spirit of a people descended from warriors. I see the same in you, my love.
I do not descend from kings. My people are common, but they are warriors. The highlands are in my blood. I did not lay eyes on the ocean until I was a teenager.
And so here, on the Western Ocean, we become as one.
Conan the Cimmerian had kept his passion in check, unwilling to let his guard down on this ship of war. But as she moved before him, her eyes burning black and her body a quivering line of naked
Okay,
white,
so they removed
Conan's desires were
one
all
scene that
else
Conan,
away. It was not just his hunger
Queen of the
for
Black
lady
Coast
to
has,
compose him,
which is where he embraces her in front of the whole crew. Admittedly, this is a rather more risque scene, to put it lightly.
Oh, of course.
But the thing I liked about what they did there was when she says, you could be a king, I had a funny mental image of her going, Conan! You have Conan, a crown! Like, longingly. So that's a love triangle. And what the voice actor did a good job conveying was the greed and the longing in Conan's voice when he said, me, a king? I loved it. Yeah.
Lord, my name is Ngora, his mistress's sub-chief. I took the liberty of
Ngora.
cleaning your armor.
I am not your
Magora.
lord, but I thank you.
I like Magora.
Mistress Belit has chosen you. We serve you as we do her.
I remember you from the fight yesterday. You fought well, Ngora. I am glad you and I did not square off.
You are skilled with the sword. Such is the reputation of the
Oh,
noble
Magora
races.
would have gone down.
Relax, Ngora. You are Belit's second in command, and I respect both the position and your prowess in battle. You have nothing to fear from me.
You should feel honored, Lord. Mistress Belit is a powerful goddess. Many respect and fear her. In my time on the Tigris, she has taken no other men.
Ngora, if you must call me lord.
That's because she's leading all the men on. They all want her. She encourages them to worship her as a goddess. If they didn't want to follow her, they could easily subdue her. But the trouble is, they follow her because she's basically leading them on, and they're infatuated with her physically. And because YouTube, we can't actually say in direct terms what this sort of relationship is, but it's a very unhealthy one to a large extent. But some of the men don't feel the same way in that regard. They're following her out of loyalty and greed because, you know, she guarantees good money for them, and they get to kind of enjoy themselves in life on the coast. And loyalty because they like her as a person. So you have, I think, 2 crew members who you pointed out earlier before we watched this that genuinely like her and believe in her to a large extent. But the rest of the crew are basically infatuated with her. And this adds a certain sickening dimension to the scene where Conan and her first meet, which is very risque in this short story, and it adds a lot of weird dimensions to that relationship she has with her crew. As for Conan, the men know better than to question him. They don't love him, they fear him, because they don't want to suffer his wrath. But I think that the reason Conan did not love them like he loves a lot of the Aquilonians is that men that serve him is that he didn't get to bond with a lot of them. Now Magora and a few of the others he did bond with. There's only like one or two members. Here you can see them. The elderly shaman, or who's I think in the short story, and Magora. They're the only two that he bonds with. The rest he doesn't care about. And they don't care about him. So you have this very weird relationship between them.
Do so in Belit's presence only. We are warriors, equals. You call me Conan.
Conan the Cimmerian. I have never met a Cimmerian. Are all of you so useless wielding a bow?
Tell me the story of this ship. Past conquests, battles, how you came to serve aboard it. I cannot believe, if the stories are true, that you have survived this long unmolested by the authorities. Surely you have encountered patrols.
My mistress knows these waters as she does the nearby provinces. She is cautious when it is tactically sound to be so, and fierce when required as well. I came into her service years back. Half the men here once crewed the Obsidian, a timber barge out of a Bondi. I was the captain. The ancient forests of the Black Kingdoms are home to many valuable woods, valued by rich men of Argos and Shem. Belit came to us. We were on the run, being trailed by local raiders. They were in mere punts and our numbers were greater, but they used multiple boats and fire arrows to keep us on the defensive. Belit appeared on the third night, alone, and in a native craft offering assistance. She was compelling.
What help could she offer you on her own?
Perspective. We were blinded and bound by the value of our cargo. We were placing that above the lives of the crew. We dumped the cargo and fled. Belit aboard the Obsidian with us.
And?
She knew the raiders, knew where they lived. The next day she took us there. We burned their village to ashes and killed every single one of them. The silver and gold we looted was equal to 3 seasons' pay. After that, we were to go back to hauling timber. Belit has led us to victory after victory after victory. We
disaster.
are, all of us, rich as nobles. Yet we will never leave her. She liberated us. She delivered us. You will soon feel the same way, I believe. Now, Conan, Lord.
Gratitude.
Where to now?
What do you mean?
Our next destination. My mistress sleeps, and I am your sub-chief as I am hers. Our destination?
Ngora's story rang in Conan's ears. It was a story of freedom, of revenge, of liberation from the shackles of those who would impose their will on others.
North to Argos, the port city of Messentia.
As you wish,
He
Lord.
wants vengeance.
In time, the story would spread along the southern coasts that the she-devil Belit had found a mate, this white warrior with ice-blue eyes. They would remember him. The bitterness and hate would yield crimson fruit for years and years to come. But in those early days, the Cimmerian lived well, drunk on Belit's passion and rich in gold from their frequent raids.
The fates favor you, Cimmerian.
But
The thread of life is never a straight one. It twists, knots itself up, and can be broken. Just because the fates look kindly on you today, they may not tomorrow. Take heart, barbarian. This is true of all living things. Dream. I can sense the... There is only one reason. Show me.
The sound of the oars in the water, the war drums at night, the cries of mercy, and the roaring of fire. Such is the song of Belit.
In our greed and avarice. And, well, Now let's rate this motion comic.
Honestly, easily a good solid 3.
I'm gonna say a 3.5. I really love this.
This is good. For a motion comic, the animation is really well done. Very smooth.
I love the voice acting, and honestly, I wish we had gotten a full series like this, where they might cover each of the major stories by Howard.
Would have been quite good.
And I like how it ends with Conan leaving the Black Coast after Baelid has fallen, and where he's obviously traumatized by what's happened, which, that's pretty accurate. He was traumatized. Don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button, as though you were Conan smashing his enemies to itty-bitty pieces.